Last time on Chronotopia, Devmo plummeted to his death. Trapped in purgatory, he meets a witch named Liz. She's going to help him regain his memories by telling him a fairy tale. It's a story about a king who tragically lost his wife. Driven mad by his despair, he falls in love with his daughter Kionna. With her retainer Nahima, she searches for clues about her fairy godmother to save her.
I guess the ottoman?
Her eyes then laid upon the donkey skin that her father had placed on her bed.
Ooh.
Oh! Look at that! It's like...
That looks really hideous.
His name was Fred! Fred the Magic Donkey!
A strange thought then crossed the young girl's mind. That looks great! I'll put it on and wear it like a cape.
Oh, God, no. That's a terrible idea.
And then, if the godmother manages to get me out of the castle, I can pretend to be a peasant, walking around with a donkey hood on. And thereby avoid being recognized.
I feel like I might not know how peasants dress.
It's the perfect solution. Disguise myself in the hide of an animal and flee with the complicity of the fairy. Notice the lack of any comment on what happens to Nahima while you're walking around dressed like a goat.
Donkey.
With determination in her eyes, the princess stood back up. She waved to Nahima.
Yes, princess?
I think that I've found an idea. Let us call my godmother without further delay.
Let's execute a pact. I'm already here.
The two young girls, upon hearing the fairy, who had once again... poof. Without warning.
So this is your true form.
Whispered Nahima.
How impressive.
Medea's traits seemed to lighten up.
Oh. Thank you. I will take that as a compliment. Anyway, let us get back to the reason of my presence. Speak, love. How can I help you?
I need you to...
For the demo, there is only one choice available. Other choices will be added later on.
Oh my.
So, do you want to dress up like a donkey? Or pretend to be dead?
I think I'm pretending to be dead.
That's probably what you would have chosen anyway, so I think we're safe there.
Yeah.
Godmother, just like Fenice, I would like to have a magical filter which can rid me of all my sense and make me fall into a deep sleep akin to death, so that Nahima can then get me out of my coffin when nobody is paying attention.
Can't go wrong.
That's it?
Thus, I would be free to leave without raising any suspicion and seek refuge from a neighboring lord.
How astute you are, princess! That's the best idea you've ever had! And I'd be glad to be able to participate and lend my support in taking your lifeless, motionless body outside of the castle walls. Yeah.
That doesn't sound good when you say that way.
No, it can't go wrong. We'll just have her buried, and then you'll just take your shovel and dig her up.
I can indeed plunge you into a magical coma for several days with a mixture of my own.
What is a coma, madam?
Really? This is difficult to explain.
Yeah, we understand metempsychosis, but, coma. Just too esoteric.
Coma is a word which does not exist yet.
You can see into the future?
Since
Once again, time flows differently.
Since time flows differently, blah, 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 I will explain this to you at another time.
The fairy turned to Kionna with a serious look. With one deft gesture of her hand, she traced invisible words in the air, and a small vial appeared in her hands, as if by magic.
I don't think
Can we
there's an
stop saying as if?
Here is the potion. Once you have taken it, you will become as stiff and pale as a corpse, and you will fall into a deep sleep that will last exactly 3 days. At the end of that period, you will regain consciousness quite normally. Thanks to my magic, there will be no consequences on your metabolism. A
word which does totally exist right now.
You will be as fresh and lively as if nothing had happened at all. So there is no risk of you dying of thirst or soiling yourself as a side effect. I'm glad I cleared that up for you.
Thank God.
Yeah, you'd hate to soil yourself when you're in a deep death sleep.
I'm in the death sleep.
Oh! That's exactly what I was looking for. A death sleep that didn't leave me with soiled undergarments.
I would still advise you to to get organized with your servant before drinking the potion, so that she knows what to expect her to do while you're asleep.
Yes, you don't want to leave that up to Nahima, I think.
Thank you for your wise advice, godmother.
Anytime.
Ooh. Thrilled by the prospect of planning her escape, the princess gratefully kissed the fairy.
I have to leave now, my child. You know what to do if you ever need me.
Poof. Thus the strange creature disappeared once more. Nahima turned to the heiress with a dash of anxiety on the edge of her lips, probably wondering why the fairy got a kiss and not her.
Wait, was that, I'm saying as Econ, was that a wish? Like, are you going to forget me now? I don't think that was a minor thing, right?
That was a minor thing.
That was a small thing. A death potion is just a small thing. Sweet!
Yeah, no, that major things
She
for,
proclaimed it as
magic
one of her-
donkey.
Oh, okay.
She proclaimed it as one of her own creations, so it strikes me as minor magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
not.
how are we going to proceed now, princess?
The two young girls agreed with one mind. Again, that Kionna would drink the filter after laying in her bed so that the illness would seem more believable. Nahima would then have to run through the castle and make as much noise as she could. She was all too pleased to do so, and set off to run through all the castle's doors to scream her distress at the moment. Soon enough, the rumor of the princess's death spread everywhere. The king immediately called the best physicians while the retainers were gathering in the hall to whisper to each other. It was said everywhere that the heiress had been taken by the same mysterious illness which had claimed her mother.
Plot twist.
That she had spent the day before her death bedridden, and that the country was cursed.
I don't think this is good for the country still.
Worse
The
for
ploy
country.
Kionna had devised seemed to be working perfectly.
Yay!
The country was indeed ruined.
I mean, I
Barely-
killed the donkey,
Yeah, you killed the donkey before putting this plan. Couldn't have done that before.
and we're leaving everything in the hands of my father, who's done really well with this country so far.
Yep.
Barely a few hours after talking with her servant for the last time, the physicians announced that Kionna had passed away, and the whole kingdom began mourning her. The transfer of the princess's body soon came into question, as it had been kept in her well-guarded room until then. What should we do with the body? So many options. The king, in person, went to contemplate the pale face of the one who had been his daughter, while several servants were taking her away to the family crypt. Upon learning this, Nahima panicked. It was planned to bury the princess as soon as possible, because the king had forbidden all ceremonies in her honor, except for last rites. She can still have those. She therefore did not have much time left if she hoped to extract Kionna, who was now resting in an open coffin in the castle's crypt. The servant immediately wanted to go to the site, as visits were allowed, under the supervision of two husky men who were guarding the room night and day.
Cremator.
Did you just say cremator?
I'm just saying. That's the way this will end well.
Gee, creepy dad.
When she saw the peaceful face of her mistress lying on a bed of flowers, the young Moor wasn't able to suppress her emotions any longer. She had to do everything in her power to get her out of here.
I mean, I hope that was already the plan.
Nahima attempted to be cunning, and asked the guards as innocently as possible,
Could you bring me some incense?
while she meditated over the remains of her mistress. Unfortunately, the guards were not that stupid, and retorted,
You have all the time to do it yourself.
aggrieved. She came back a few minutes later and tried to distract them, in vain, as the two men were obstinately immobile. Nahima's fear grew more and more as the hours passed, and she came to beg them,
Please leave me alone with the body. There's something that I have to do.
yet
No.
they remained unwavering.
Nope.
You
The-
can't watch.
Can.
The lady's companion, even more shaken than before, started
Oh God!
and began
Princess.
insisting.
The princess is not dead. She's only asleep, and I have to save her. Or she's really gonna die.
The guards, though, thought the pain had driven Nahima insane, and they called
Reinforcements!
in order to keep her back under control. In utter despair, Nahima struggled. She scratched at her attackers. She screamed
Murder!
that they would all have the heiress's death on their conscience. Oh, sorry, that's all you. And
You'll have the heiress's death on your conscience.
but ultimately, she could not do anything against the men who were taking her away. Isolated under the pretext that she was hysterical, the young girl was imprisoned in one of the dungeon cells, guarded by soldiers who looked as sinister as the others. She was strictly forbidden to approach the body or even to get out until the week after the princess's burial. Thus, Nahima was unable to keep her promise.
Oh my.
The servant refused to eat and spent those few days in the darkness of her cell, talking to herself.
Princess, I'm sorry. I won't be able to help you escape, and both of us will not be able to go on an adventure, a sexy adventure. I would have loved that, really, and I was looking forward to it so much, but Nahima's failed. Idiot! Idiot! She failed to act in time. I didn't try flashing them. Okay, no, I'm so sorry, so very sorry.
A few hours later, she was found hanged by her belt in her
What
makeshift
the-
cell, whilst the heiress was officially buried in the graveyard overhanging the forest that adjoined the castle.
Oh.
This fairy tale
my-
is not
This is a
cute.
fairy tale.
The end.
Oh, God. Oh.
Oh,
Ooh.
At the end of the 3 days, Kionna regained consciousness as planned. However, as she was softly opening her eyes, she quickly realized that something was wrong.
what is...
Pack time.
The young girl was shrouded in darkness and did not distinguish anything that could give her clues about her location. Her heart raced in her chest. This was not reassuring at all. She wanted to get back on her feet and then immediately understood how grave the situation was.
But
She simply could not. Beads of sweat dripped from the corner of her temple as she touched the edges of her macabre prison. A realization then hit her right in the chest. She was locked in a box. Not any kind of box, one that was big enough to fit a whole human being. Her pupils widened because of the stupefaction.
Impossible. Could this be a coffin? They buried me.
The princess tried to keep a semblance of calm, but she had to fight her inner demons to achieve that, and didn't think of contacting her outer demons who had promised to come help her in exactly this situation.
It must be a mistake.
She thought aloud.
Surely Nahima is on her way to collect me. She is just a little late.
In order to reassure herself, Kionna paid close attention to the noises around her, hoping to detect her friend above her. But she could only hear the wind in the desperately quiet forest. The young girl was buried too deeply for anyone to notice her, but the wind still got through, and she couldn't see a glimpse of a ray of light, and did not know that night had come for some time now. It hardly kept her from trying, for she was still thinking she could escape.
Is anybody here? Nahima, is that you? Please let me out of here.
Unable to do anything at all, the princess waited in silence. She could not keep track of the time, yet the suffocation was twisting her perception, and it seemed like she had been motionless for hours, long hours, during which she was hoping her servant would come soon. However, she had to face reality. Nahima would not come. Something had happened during her sleep, which had prevented the servant from fulfilling the mission. Had she been discovered? Or was this revenge on Nahima's part? The most absurd theories were passing through Kionna's feverish mind. Soon enough, the narrowness and the obscurity of her prison became unbearable. Her breath got irregular while her whole body started to violently twitch, despite all her efforts. The heiress could not suppress the panic which was taking hold of her.
It is so dark. I have trouble breathing. For pity's sake, let me out of here.
In utter despair, Kionna then remembered the pact she had completed with the fairy. Surely she could use her powers to save herself. As the princess was ready to summon her godmother in her head, a horrible thought made her doubt. The fairy would only fulfill her wish if she accepted being separated from her most beloved one, which meant that, even if she were able to get out of the coffin alive, Nahima would not remember her, and she would find herself alone and forsaken. Indecisiveness forced her to reconsider. Kionna, consequently, decided to wait a few more minutes. Unfortunately, the situation was already out of her control. In no time, she felt like she was running out of air, which increased her paranoia and her panic attack. In tears, the young girl cried out in human pleas, and her eyes started to sing.
I cannot take it anymore. I cannot. It has to stop. This nightmare has to stop.
A late realization suddenly struck her. She was going to die, alone, in this gruesome coffin.
I do not want to die. I do not want to die. I do not want to die. Mercy, God, have mercy on me. I do not want to die yet.
Choked by the overwhelming heat, pupils widened by pure terror, the princess gathered the last of her strength to raise a shaking and convulsing hand.
I do not want to die.
And she brought herself to call for her godmother. The fairy's voice echoed inside her head straight away.
Hi! How's it going?
Godmother, I beg of you, help me. I'm stuck. I do not want to die. Please help me.
Calm down. Do not forget that we are bound. If this is your wish, I will fulfill it. I only need you to clearly express what is it you're exactly expecting me to do.
This is the genie's dilemma here.
I could save you, but you have to tell me how I should proceed.
Don't tell
Wanting
her.
to not die is a horrible one to start with.
Because if you say, get me out of here, she's just going to put you in a coffin in the middle of the ocean or something. You know? I mean...
How?
There are many ways I could get you out of here.
Yes.
I have lots of options.
Pronounce your order unambiguously, and I will obey it.
The young girl stayed quiet for a few seconds, thinking about what a complete ass her godmother was. Fear was making her delirious, and she could not control her emotions anymore. Thus, it was impossible for her to properly focus. Yet there was an absolute certainty engraved in her heart. She could not allow herself to lose the relationship she had with Nahima. Nahima was her only friend, the only person who understood her. There had to be a way to erase her mistake without having to pay the fairy's tribute. Time was running out, and Kionna could not wait anymore. A shameful thought suddenly came to her. If only I could go back in time and choose another path. If only I could, her behavior suddenly changed.
Medea, allow me to go back in time so that I can have a second chance.
Your wish is my command, princess.
With these words, the same magic circle which had materialized during their pact appeared in the young girl's coffin and illuminated her with a blinding light, while the fairy was reciting a similar spell. The echoes of the magical words filled Kionna's heart with fear. What was she doing? Could this charm truly save her? Why are there clocks? And gears? It's magic! She did not have time to put more thought into it, for everything that was around her disappeared. Her body rose in the air, flapped by a powerful wind, as if she was moving at great speed. The last minutes of her life flashed backwards. Like a furious bull no one could stop. A final thought wandered through her mind.
Have I made a mistake somewhere?
Without warning, she lost consciousness, and the world ceased to exist. Thus began a long, very long
I
nightmare.
just don't even know.
What?
The end.
I'm turning all the old people to hot dogs, and you're next.
The flying hell is going on.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. The world needs hot dogs. Oh, son, stop him! Why are you so